Here we go.
Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's the Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
Welcome back to another episode of The Good Brothers. I'm Alex, that's Mike. We are The Good Brothers, the #1 podcast in the Chicagoland area. I'm just stating facts. I have no evidence to back that up with. Mike, say hi to the folks.
Hi, folks. That sounds like the way you just live your life, good brother Alex.
It's easier that way.
How you doing, man?
Good. Watched a great El Camino last week.
Which we'll
Was that
get
last
to.
week already?
Yeah, but a few days ago, at least.
Man.
By the time we're
These weeks
recording
are,
this, it's been a great time.
flying by.
It was a fun movie, and we have a busy show to get to today, good brother. Obviously, we check out what happened in the box office. We also see what's coming out this weekend that we could spend our monies on. Good brother mentioned himself. We stood up, or in my case, woke up really early to watch El Camino.
I took that
a
bullet
Breaking
for
Bad
the station
movie.
and stood up till 2 to watch a 2-hour movie.
A new trailer with a former Avenger comes out, so we'll get into that. We have a new Selina Kyle and Catwoman, so we'll get into that breaking news. We also have to get a little bit into Uncle Marty talking about craziness in the movie industry. And, of course, the WWE draft came and went, and it was in a whimper. But we also have to get into the Wednesday Night Wrestling War, all that, and whatever else comes into the crazy mind that is the
met
Good
with
Brother.
Marvel. Kevin
Yeah.
Feige's now in charge of everything instead of just the studio.
So you can expect all those nuggets and much more on this episode of The Good Brother, the 99th episode, Good Brother, of our show. We are getting closer and closer to episode 100. I guess we're a step away now, where you and I first, if you check back in the archives, the first episode of you and I just talking about Halloween to where we're at now, it's kind of crazy before we dig into
Don't judge
the
us.
next episode. So next week, episode 100, I don't know yet
A
what.
6-hour special, crossovers, timelines will be destroyed.
All right, Flash.
Can't wait.
I'm not too sure exactly what we do, but I know what we are doing for episode 99, and we're starting off with the box office. And at number 1, with an impressive only minus 30% at the box office, Good Brother, Joker, still at number 1, making $55 million. Opening up at number 2, The Addams Family, making $30 million. Gemini Man opening up at number 3 to $20 million. You talk about a huge box office flop of 2019. That might be one of them. At number 4, Abominable at $6 million. At number 5, Downton Abbey at $4 million. At 6, Hustlers bringing in another $3 million. At 7, Judy bringing in $3 million. At 8, It Chapter 2 with $3 million. At 9, opening up, Jexy with $3 million. So do we agree Adam Devine, whatever his name is not a leading man anymore? Can we agree?
I don't think he ever is trying to be a lead man. They probably made that movie for like $3 million. So
okay, but we know
I think
he's
they
not,
knew what it was.
Sure, but he's not box office.
I don't think he was trying to be.
But they're always trying to find that next comedic guy.
I think we found that out years ago. How about
Fair
that?
enough.
I don't think this was a discovery. I think maybe the one with Zac Efron, when they need wedding dates, Mike and Dave need wedding dates, was probably more the one where like, yeah, he can't lead a movie.
And at number 10, Ad Astra brings in another $1 million. A Good Brother. And along with that, why don't we see what you can spend your money on this weekend? Oh, a little movie comes back in. It's Jay and Silent Bob Reboot are coming out into theaters, so you get your eyes on that.
Got good reviews so far.
And
nice little positive reviews.
Nationally, the big 2, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and Zombieland 2. Double tap. Good Brother, Zombieland, the first one, is near and dear to my heart. It is a very special. I love zombie flicks, so like that's its own thing. But the fact that it was the first time I was really exposed to Emma Stone besides Superbad, so it was me really like falling in love with her and like her spunk and like what would end up being one of the greatest careers that we've seen in the last 20 years.
I love their marketing where like the whole thing is Academy Award nominee, Academy Award winner, because they've all been nominated, even the little girl for the cowboy movie. So I think it's hilarious. And it's Zombieland, and pretty much reviews are out. It's good. It's the same as the last one. Maleficent is getting better reviews than the last movie, and it made a lot of money before. So the fact that it's a better movie, I think, is going to show that it's going to make more money this year. I mean, we could talk about last weekend, I guess, first. How do you want to go about this? Who's going to win this weekend, last weekend?
Well, we ended up last weekend I said Joker would end up number 1. I think you said Addams Family.
I said Addams Family.
So we found out that I think a lot of people were still just interested that hadn't seen Joker yet.
I think we've realized how big it truly is to the common man. And I think, I'll be honest, I think the drama of, there's extra security here. And and then you start looking behind the curtain of like, well, there hasn't been an incident yet.
Right.
So they used it as great marketing, and guess what? It worked.
It worked out for them.
Halloween time, people are a little creeped out. People are looking around the theater, and it's like, you should always look around the theater, honestly, in general. Yeah. But this movie is kind of caught that niche of, I think now it's definitely like, we're not getting a war nomination. Tweet. Suckers. Like, it's so smart if you don't know what you're looking for.
Now, I do think the Addams Family does have a little run in it, too, though.
No,
it'll make some money, so I'm pretty happy about that.
It's going to make what it needs to get a sequel. Obviously, it just ran into a buzzsaw. One of those movies we're going to be talking about for decades. Yeah.
So let's go into then this coming up week.
I think we got to mention it, man. Like, probably the biggest bust of the year.
Gemini Man?
Yeah. That is, like, that movie cost $180 million to make. Yeah. And, like, you can talk about Godzilla. It didn't make the billions it needed to. Still made its money. Still has a franchise going.
Right.
This is a bust, people. Like, some people, like, throw a bust for movies that maybe don't make as much as they should have, but made $80 million instead of 85. No, this is a bust. Like, the studio's losing hundreds of $1 million off of a Will Smith coming off the Aladdin with it's supposed to be the best graphics in a movie ever. Turned out to be a bust.
And this is the type of thing that executives lose their job. Millions of dollars, like the good brother said, were lost. People will be fired because of this. Studio heads lose jobs because of big movie box office flops like this. But what I think will end up happening this weekend is we won't have a lot of box office flops. I think a lot of people will make money this weekend.
I think it's a lot of money going around.
Because we have we're in the holiday season now of the creepy season, and we're right around the corner to the real holidays. So people are getting ready to get out of the cold, enjoy their weekends with their family. Weekend? So I was going to get into, we have Zombieland 2 and Maleficent as the new
Maleficent
coming out as the new heavy hitters in this week.
So Joker, we agree. Joker's going to get dethroned.
Joker goes to number 4, I believe.
I think Joker goes to number 3.
I think number 3 goes Addams Family. I think number 2 is Zombieland. And number 1 is, how do you pronounce
it?
Maleficent.
Maleficent. People have been having fun with that lately. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Either way, Angelina Jolie's going to win.
Yeah.
Then Zombieland. Yeah. Then Joker.
Interesting. I disagree with you.
Then Addams Family. And then I'm going to go with maybe... I think Gemini Man's going to get bumped off the top 5 already. Because when you have a movie
Abominable will beat Gemini Man.
Yeah.
Or Downton Abbey, one of the two.
One of those two. Yeah. I think Gemini Man is, if you wanted to see it, you saw it. And you didn't like it. So now why are you going to go watch it again?
It was nice to talk a little business and inside baseball with the box office and the studio talk to start off the show, good brother. But we move on. Because we got to see a movie experience of 2019 that didn't have a theatrical release. We are talking about El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie that dropped on Netflix last week. Good brother, let's do this. Let's give each other's scores, and it will give everybody the opportunity to check it out on Netflix and come back for our spoiler review of El Camino. So how about give me a generic summary of what you thought about it, no spoilers, and a score.
I thought it was great. It was 2 more episodes of Breaking Bad, basically. I thought the camera work was amazing. You could totally tell it was a movie. It gives me hope for the AMC properties, like The Walking Dead, making movies, because I'm like, it looks like a good movie. I love that it's on Netflix. And I think we've learned on this show we have to adjust our scores when it's Netflix, because you're like, I didn't have to pay for this. And I liked it. And it was something I enjoyed. So I have to add that in there. I think now, do I agree? Could I have gone my whole life without this? Of course I could have. Breaking Bad's perfect. Do I love having an ending to Jesse? Yes, I do love it. It's like, why would I complain about 2 more hours of something perfect? It's not like it didn't tarnish it. It was just as good. Was it groundbreaking? Was it a 10 out of 10? No. Is it a 9 out of 10? Yes.
So that's what you would give it?
I think it's fantastic. It's great. I think there's obviously, there's better arcs in Breaking Bad and there's better episodes and all that, but does this fit into that world perfectly? Yes.
Everything good brother just put in soliloquy, I agree with, and I would just add on to, it's a great epilogue to the Breaking Bad series. I give it probably a 9 out of 10 in our Netflix scoring, but that has been your generic your very general, easy review of Breaking Bad.
I'll say this real fast before we get spoilers. Had this come out in theaters, I think this movie's a 7.5, maybe
probably
an 8. Because when you pay for it, then I would have expected a little bit more. But again, maybe they had an extra half hour then. Maybe they had this. Yeah. But for a Netflix Breaking Bad movie, 9 out of 10. Aaron Paul is fantastic. All the characters are great. So
I will say, with that in mind, of in 2019 that maybe it doesn't work, but in 1999 it works because it falls right into the line of how popular that crime as type of thing was. So I give it a 9 out of 10. I totally agree with Good Brother. It's the best epilogue you can have of a TV series, and it definitely gives me hope of what we'll see for The Walking Dead and everything else.
All that stuff.
But with that in mind, you've been warned. We're going to spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to now our spoiler review of El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie on Netflix. Good Brother, I'll start it off right off the bat. My 2 favorite scenes in the movie were with Mike and with Walter.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You read my mind. It's fantastic all around. I think the other one I love the best is when he's talking to Skinny Pete.
Skinny Pete and Badger.
And he's like, why are you helping me? He's like, you're my hero, man.
You're my hero,
so
man.
that one kind of got me. That was very tearful. Mm-hmm. They do such a good job of just setting this up like, you're like, damn, this is some great acting. Like, you're like, this kid is traumatized. Yeah. Like you review what he went through, and I love the what they give you in the beginning. Like, do you want a review? And I'm like, yeah, I want a review. Yes, I want to watch.
Which
Breaking
was phenomenal.
Bad again.
Yeah,
so great. And like, I love how they kind of tied it more into the last bit of seasons with the Nazis instead of being like, it really didn't have a lot to do with the cartel because they closed that story so well. And I think I forget sometimes with Gus, it's like maybe that's why Breaking Bad is the greatest show of all time because you get so many arcs, and it feels like they could have been series in themselves. Like, had you ended the series right there at Gus, you probably would have been fine. But the fact that you get a whole nother, 2 seasons of, them starting their own empire and them making their own thing, I'm like, I totally forgot. That's like a whole separate 18 episodes.
Dude.
It's fantastic.
Every story arc, and this is why I had this conversation. So this is a loose fit episode and review, so I'll be able to share the story with the peoples. I was with Good Brother's mother. I was with our mom, and she had watched this. And she got into Breaking Bad, but jumped off around season 2 because she just was in and out of it.
A lot of people did at the time.
And so she watched this one, and she loved it. She was obsessed with it. She's now gone back and starting to watch Breaking Bad. And for me, all these story arcs have such lasting memories to me. They're so impactful. This is why it's my favorite show. The first of finding out he had the cancer, to then starting the Let's Cook with Jesse, to what it was Tico, one of the greatest bad guys ever, when he smacks around Jesse, Tuco, and he's just tweaking out the whole time. Then we move on to what would be Gus. Gus, in it's one of the greatest bad guys ever.
Because they split the episodes a
lot.
But
Uncle Jack is no slouch, and to me was much more Sons of Anarchy meets Breaking Bad than Gus was. I think Gus was the main nemesis of the series, but Uncle Jack was devastating. And for me, the Todd storyline has always been the creepiest, the scariest, the most real storyline in all of Breaking Bad. And the fact that they go all in on a story with Todd and Jesse is some of my favorite things that Vince did in this movie.
I mean, shout out to Jesse Plemons. That's the kid's name.
He's amazing, yeah.
I've known him back since Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
He's become one of these actors. I think he's in The Irishman also. He's fantastic. He's such a good character actor. He really loses himself in these psychopathic roles.
His belly always throws me off because I always remember him being
But he gets jacked for certain roles. Yeah. But he's that actor. He's that up and comer that you're gonna remember in a few years. He's old school Gary Oldman. He's just going there, and then thinking 10 more years we're gonna be no, he's gonna win an Oscar. He's always in the conversation of he could be that role. He plays bad so good. He plays crazy so good. He's got that Opie face, and they make fun of it even, where it's no, it is. It works for him, though.
Oh, dude. His housekeeping storyline, dude,
it's all good.
But it's so good. The worst part about it is almost too good. Because when you take a step back.
You want some soup?
This is a Murder Mysteries and More episode. We're talking about a guy that shot a mother outside the door saying, your friend's out in the car. We're talking about...
shot a little boy. Shot the little
boys in the bicycle. We're talking about strangling
and then held his tarantula too.
Oh, dude, it is. I think this movie. I could go all day about this movie, but let's give some credit to Aaron Paul, Jonathan Banks, Matt Jones, Charles Baker, Todd Terry, Julie Perrell,
obviously
Jesse Plemons,
Sir Bryan Cranston,
Tom Bauer. I mean, it's crazy that, and you and I were talking about this a little bit before we got into the show. What I appreciated the most about this movie was it's a simplicity of it. Like, they could have gone balls to the wall. They could have made this epic, and they almost did with the West scene with him and the Nazi welder, where it almost got actiony, where he went on to that cowboy scene. But the movie is just like you said, it's 2 episodes. It's moment.
A great arc.
Yeah, like, you're seeing this broken person, like the aftermath. Like, I think when Breaking Bad ended, we all assumed Jesse was okay. But when you really think about it, like what it would have been, it almost has opened itself up to this. Like, it was kind of necessary.
It was almost that last part, because you're like, Walter had closure. He had closure with his family, with his wife. He finally owned up to what he was through. And I love how we get the straight answer right away. Like, no, he's dead. Like, he's dead. So you're always wondering. I love how they start with Mike in the beginning. And they set up the movie of, like, where does he get the Alaska from? He got it from Mike. And I love where he goes to Mike. It's like, you're a young kid. You can start over. It's okay. Like, you have enough money. You can start over at your age. You can't go back and change what you did. You did what you did, kid. You have to own it. And I love that about Mike, where it was like, you can still live a life. You can go and start over. But you have to own what you did. And I think we see him throughout the movie become this sort of man of like, no, I did a lot of bad stuff and I have to own it. And I'm a criminal and I'm an outlaw, but I do have morals. And you got his closure with his friends, with his loved ones, his dad. You know, he got closure with his family. Yeah. He got letter to Brock. Yeah. And then you get to find out the best scene to me, or one of them, was him and Walter. And like kind of having that conversation of like, again, everyone's always telling this kid, what do you want to do with your life? Yeah. What's after this? There has to be an after. And I think they do a good part showing he never thought about it until he had to.
But they also stay true to these characters. They didn't whitewash it, because at the end of it, Walter still fucked it up by saying he had to get you your GED.
He doesn't remember. So,
but here's the funny thing, though, is Jesse and Walter's relationship was always this, right? It was the same thing with his son. It was... You always wanted it to be better. You always were rooting for it, because you're like, they do love each other. Like, whatever happens, Jesse loved Walter and Walter loved Jesse at one point. What was sad about it is Walter always thought Jesse was a fuck up, just like everybody else did. And Jesse always thought these guys were assholes and didn't trust him, and like always thought less of him.
It was all true. Everyone was right about it.
But here's the crazy thing is, though, when you're watching that scene of them just sitting there having breakfast and talking, there was a reality to it where you're like, oh, they do want this to work. They do think this is like Pleasantville. They do, and they just can't help but fuck it up.
But here's the thing. I think where you're wrong, in a sense, is where this is a past moment. So I think we see a glimpse of Walter at his worst, when it was like, I'm using this kid more. I really don't care about it.
I agree.
I think where we end the series, because we got to remember, somebody's flashbacks are in the middle of the series.
Okay.
And we know answers later. We know that when it came down to it, and gun to Walter, and they're at the end, at that ending moment, Walter did give Jesse what he wanted. And it was as simple as, say you want this, admit finally that me killing you is better for you than me, and just tell me that. And he does. Right. So I think that last moment we get is good. I like this moment because it reminds us of a time where it's like the beginning moments of Walter really being more... Oh, yeah, I'm kind of just using the kid. I do like him. I love him, but maybe not as much.
I totally disagree with you on that. I think that scene was supposed to set us up that he's realizing that he likes him, that this kid has potential, and that I also think that there was this greenness to him, that he thought that what he wasn't doing was this big of a deal. Because then he even says, there's like, how long is it going to take us to sell all this that we cooked? And Jesse's, well, it's going to take us like 6 months. And he's like, damn, 6 months? Like, it should be faster. So there is this naiveness to Walter in that beginning that I appreciated, that he really... At one point in the series, Walter really thought that he was going to do everything the right way, like as a legit businessman, and that he was going to save Jesse. And we just so happened, after years of television, realized that it wasn't going to work out that way, and that they ended up turning on each other. But I think that really cemented their relationship, where they wanted to love each other. They just couldn't get out of each other's ways. And before I move on, I also want to give a huge shout out to Robert Foster, who passed away, but plays an incredible part in this movie. And I love that the simplicity of this movie is try to get back to the red van. I think there's something for Breaking Bad fans that's the ultimate goal again, is to just get back to that red van.
Get to Alaska, get the money. I think it's hilarious that we disagree so much of like, because I think when Breaking Bad ends, we do learn that at the end of it all, after he hit rock bottom, he realized that he does love Jesse, and Walt technically does, I think, sacrifice himself for Jesse.
Oh, totally, yeah.
And without Walt's sacrifice, Jesse doesn't get free, or we don't have Jesse's redemption story, I think.
Yeah, but there's no doubt about it that they turned on each other. But that's my whole point, is that scene was to establish that this was a relationship that did kind of have some love, and there was an innocence to it, even though they were making crystal meth. The idea was there was an innocence and naiveness to Jesse and
the
Walter.
whole point of Breaking Bad at the end is, do the ends justify the means?
And Breaking Bad, like he broke bad.
Exactly. It's like, well, I need to pay for cancer to support my family. You're making meth.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, you're making meth. No, obviously. Like, the obvious answer is no, but that's what the show's point was, to draw the line of, like, no, you are sympathetic until it's time not to be sympathetic anymore.
And I think it definitely, El Camino did one great job where it didn't retroactively add anything to the show.
Jesse's an outlaw. Like, Jesse did a lot of fucked up shit.
But it also, like, it makes sense story-wise. Like, you could watch El Camino, and they didn't do anything to be like, oh, shit, we messed this up in season 1, so we could fix it here. It's like, no. They just put a story that continued on, and I think it's, if anything else, I think this is something that was scratching Vince Gilligan's back of his head. And I think, if anything else, he just needed this story to be put out somewhere.
Well, and it's funny because he put in an interview that his girlfriend recently was the one that made it seem, because originally they had written that Jesse gets caught. Okay. And then, you know, he has his new girlfriend, a new life, and he's like, when I wrote this before, I was in a different place in my life. And now that I'm happy, he's like, no, Jesse has to get out. Like, that they need this ending. We already got that with Walt. We need Jesse. Because at the end of the day, Jesse kind of got dragged into this. Jesse got used. Jesse's a victim, I think. So at the end of the day, I do want to see Jesse go. I think it is different than Walt, where it's like, no, I want Walt dead. Like, I think he deserved that.
Yeah.
No, Jesse should get away. I think Jesse, for all the bad he did, that torture was enough. I think he did his sentence. And like they do it in the great trailers where Skinny Pete again, like almost to the show where he's like, you know, even if he was out there, like, he's done his time. Yeah. Like, I'm not helping you. Like, he needs to go.
Now, I will say this. I wonder how much, in Vince's mind, the Jesse character was as likable as Aaron Paul made him. Because I wonder.
Aaron Paul makes that whole character.
And this didn't. And I'm glad you kind of are following my drift on this, because Jesse's really easy throughout the whole series to really dislike and to fall, like, off of. Walter was always consistent. You knew you loved Walter, but you knew how it had to end.
He's kind of a dick.
He's kind of Frankenstein.
He goes from like a dick to he's a monster.
Jesse could have been one of two things: sympathetic, like he ended up being, or swarmy,
like a punk,
like slimy, squirmy.
And I think you see him a lot. Like, obviously, like,
he did write that line.
The best character evolution you see is even better than Walter is
Close.
Jesse from season 1
to 5
all the way to season 5. I think his growth and his just like what happens to him really pays off.
I don't know if I totally agree with Jesse to Jesse now, from Walter to Heisenberg to like death-ridden Alaska Walter, but
I like that they don't involve Mike's family or Walter's family in this
totally,
one. Because I'm starting the assumption that Better Call Saul is going to have the real Breaking Bad universe ending.
How about this, though? No real association with Better Call Saul.
No, they mentioned the lawyer. They're like, and the lawyer, and and your lawyer got in trouble with this and this. And because obviously
Odenkirk's not in it.
Well, no, because we know right now. So like this movie's in the middle. Technically, Better Call Saul is the most future
it's
we
the
see
recent,
because we see old Saul.
Yes.
Or at least older Saul.
In black and white.
Obviously this movie takes place like really soon after the 3 weeks. Like it's a matter of like 2 weeks after Walter dies.
El Camino takes place right after,
like a week. Like that's 1 week a span, basically.
Oh yeah, the whole movie takes
place
in about a week.
So it's so it's very like.
Well, we leave
Better
the
Call Saul is actually in the future. For all we know, it might be a year, but it's more.
Sure.
So I'm interested to see where we go in that future,
right?
Because we just see Saul look older. For all we know, he's only wearing a mustache. Like maybe for all we know, like it's been a year. Or maybe for all we know, it's been 10 years and he's watching his old videos. So I'm interested to see, because that's going to be the real close to the Breaking Bad universe.
Right.
And we have one more season of that, which is not only building the epilogue, which is great. We're building the lab and everything. We get Mike's story, his past. But I want to see where the Breaking Bad universe ends with Saul. Do they find him and murder him? Do the police get him?
I have a theory that Better Call Saul is eventually going to lead into a prologue of Pollo Loco, El Pollo Hermano, and it's going to be a Gus story that talks about his rise into power.
Maybe. I think that's the next thing. I think they're going to end it with Better Call Saul.
I think AMC's too much. I think AMC's too smart to stop giving him all the monies in the world. And do I think? Yeah. Of course, it's a show that doesn't exist, and nobody's had any rumors about it. But like the idea of they've already gone the Saul route, they've already gone a movie route. The next plausible thing is to have the twin brothers, to have Gus, to have the old man,
of that family,
to just do
Narcos,
that story.
Do a Narcos,
a
but on
Narcos
AMC.
as the Breaking Bad.
Is it possible? Sure. I don't think it's ever going to happen. You're going to get a junior storyline as likely. Like, hey, Walter's son. Yay.
All right.
I just don't see it. I don't think it's ever even been close to discussion. If it is, it's. No, it's crazy, I think.
Really? Even though this is the same company that's about to do 3 spinoffs to The Walking Dead.
I think they'll do one, and I think they don't do the other 2. I think it's going to be such a bad thing, and they are getting lower.
That's different then.
And I don't think the new series is going to be any good because Fear's not any good. I'll be honest, I think we're coming to the end of Walking Dead. I think now that the writing's better and we've at least gotten to say the story's better. We don't have the viewers, but the story's better. I think you have 1 or 2 more seasons, and you just got Laurie Cohen back.
Yeah,
I think we're close to the end of Walking Dead.
But you're losing Michonne, so
that's what I'm saying. We're getting real close, and I think they've killed out so many people actor wise. You're like, yeah, I love Norman Reedus and I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Laura Cohen, but I don't think they carry a show.
I also want to make sure that I know we talked about it a little bit, but Badger and Skinny Pete. Awesome to have him back in my screen. It was just great.
That's probably the most emotional in the movie you got.
Yeah, and just everything about that. The funny comedic part is still there. They have the chemistry.
You're the guy.
Yeah, you're the guy.
Yeah, you're the guy.
It's like they're great. It's like you drive like a blind person. It's like it was a great 15, 20 minutes in the movie, and it's some of my favorite. I'm super excited that this movie came out. I'm glad it came out. It's a great epilogue. It's a great treat for diehard fans. It's a great testament to Aaron Paul. That man needs to really break out. In
a slow year, he could get an Emmy for a limited series / movie.
Oh, totally. But the idea of this man's only real theatrical headline was Need for Speed. No, we need Aaron Paul to really show us. He needs to become the Ben Foster of 2020.
He's pretty cool because he's one of those actors he doesn't work as much as he can by choice. I think he really likes just chilling.
Which is true, and he does a lot of cool animation stuff with his boys.
And he does tequila with his boy, with Cranston.
Yeah,
and he just had a kid.
All right, and we might as well do it now. We mentioned it, Walter. There's certain people who have such gravitas and such aura to them. When Bryan Cranston comes into the shot in the hotel room, it changed.
And you knew it was coming. Because you're you're like, man, they're cutting it short. Oh, wait, flashback. All right, here he is. And then, they do such a good time of timing. And you're waiting. Yeah, there he is. Mustache.
But this also great for Aaron Paul. How he portrays Jesse in that scene to how he portrays Jesse the rest of the movie.
I told everyone that. I'm like, it's so fascinating because, this wasn't filmed before.
Yeah.
This is actors years later after the show having to go back. And not only that, but go back to not even the series finale, to the beginning of the series and be like, what was my character back then? I have to kind of go back in there and find Jesse from season 1, not Jesse from season 3.
And think about, as humans, as men, think about how you were successful-wise now compared to then. These guys were hungry, raw, using emotion in season 1 that they may have had in season 5.
And Bryan Cranston is one of the biggest actors ever now from this, and now he basically can't miss.
So to see them reprise it the way they did it, almost literally, dude, not miss a beat.
Yeah.
No, it was great. Not miss a beat.
It was as close to perfect as you get.
And, I don't go back and watch a lot of series. This was the first time I've honestly been like,
Wait, how many times have you seen Breaking Bad straight through?
The one time.
Wow, I've seen it 3 times straight.
Which is great. But I TV shows I don't do that with. Like, to me, there's just too many episodes.
You know what gets me? They'll do the marathons.
Yeah.
And I'll get to like all of season 1 and 2, and I'm like, well, I might as well finish it.
I will never change it if it's on or if it's on. But like, I don't want to.
That and The Wire, I've gone out and seen multiple times. That's how good those shows are.
I've seen certain episodes of Breaking Bad numerous times, but like I haven't seen.
I'm telling you, like two shows.
Yeah,
Breaking Bad and The Wire.
Yeah.
I've seen multiple times because that's how good they are. And I'm wanting to see The Wire again. I've seen it twice through.
Yeah.
But you always learn something more every time you watch it. Like every time I see, I'm like a Breaking Bad expert, I feel like. Because I've seen it 3 times straight through, and every episode I'm like, I don't remember that. You're like, oh my God, I totally forgot. They dropped an ATM on a crackhead. Oh yeah.
You know, a plane blows up.
Like, you forget
like,
about
like
this.
Literally,
you're like, oh yeah, he does make a bomb out of the drugs, doesn't he?
The daughter dies and the father just so happens to be a pilot.
It's I forgot the wife cheats. So yeah, he does get shot.
That is The Good Brother and my review of El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie. In other news, Good Brother, RDJ is no longer donning the Iron Man suit. But now he talks to John Cena as a polar bear with a hat and other animals because he is Doolittle. And we saw the trailer drop. Really don't need to go too heavy on this one, but... Now, let me ask you this. Am I spoiled?
What a fart.
Now, whimsical-wise, I get where they're going for.
It looks so bad.
Am I crazy? Like, the CGI doesn't look great.
It looks so bad.
But... we are so spoiled now that people are actually like saying this looks horrible. I'm like, the CGI
horrible.
doesn't look horrible.
No, not CGI. The whole movie.
The movie looks
terrible.
bad. That's different.
The accent looks bad. The fact that like we've seen it behind the scenes, how long this movie has taken to get made. It's gone through 2 studios. They brought a new scriptwriter just last year. They're dropping it in February. And the CGI looks bad. Robert Downey Jr. hasn't had a good movie that wasn't involved in Iron Man in a very long time. Yeah, dude, like, why do it's gonna be bad. Is this, and guess what? I'm the one that called that stupid movie, the
Judge.
The Book Before Time, whatever, the other Disney one that was supposed to be big. You know which one I mean.
I
the one of the book. It was dumb. And I called and everyone's like, oh, Ava DuVernay. I'm like,
Wrinkle of Time.
Wrinkle in Time. I was like, no, it looks bad, guys. Like, sometimes you just can see a movie and be like, it looks bad. And you can want to defend it because you like Dr. Doolittle. I personally like Eddie Murphy. I like those movies. But this looks terrible. I don't know who this is for.
That's the big question.
Like, I just don't get it. And, like, if you're trying to get the Iron Man fans, you failed. If you're not getting the visual side because it looks... even Alice in Wonderland looks better. Maleficent looks better. All these movies look better. So why am I interested in this? This isn't even Disney.
So I kind of agree with you for the most part. I think people are a little ignorant when it comes to CGI. I think the CGI looks fine. I think it doesn't look as great as obviously some of the CGI you'll see in today's movie.
I think people expected Disney, and it's not Disney, guys. That's the problem, is that this isn't a Disney studio movie. So obviously the CGI is not as good. It's not Disney, no.
I'm going to look that up.
No, it's not a Disney movie. It looks like it because guess what? From the producers of Alice in Wonderland and these other random Disney movies that weren't that great comes Doolittle.
I am looking at it right now. We could look a little bit. Good brother, can you talk to the fine folks while I do this? I mean there's some other reasons why you don't like it.
I just don't get why you think... like, I think it's okay to judge CGI nowadays because it does look that bad.
Wow, it's a Universal movie.
Telling you, Mike, there's a reason the CGI looks bad. It's from a studio that doesn't do a lot of CGI.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, they do a lot, but like that's not their main thing.
Credits Universal for doing the right marketing, though. Because it looks like a Disney movie.
Like you're like got a Disney vibe. Yeah. But the problem is it has like the bad Disney vibe of like Dumbo.
Dude,
and
I'm
Alice
somebody
Wonderland.
in the industry and I didn't know it was Universal.
I told you. And I'm telling you, they sell this movie like it's Disney. And the tone of it and Robert Downey Jr., but it's not Disney.
So I think you and I will be talking about this movie a little bit just because of how important RDJ is to pop culture. But I'm with you, good brother. I don't think it's going to end very well. But we get news on another superhero front, good brother. She has voiced the character once before. She's also in a bunch of different things like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We're talking about High Fidelity. We're talking about Big Little Lies. Good brother, we have ourselves a brand new Selina Kyle, a.k.a. Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz. That's right. Jason Momoa's stepdaughter is on the same
Her
universe.
mom is Lisa Bonet. and her dad is Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz, yep.
And you forget that. You're like, and she looks just like it. Like she looks
like both of them.
And I was like, oh wait, that makes perfect sense. I don't know.
She's beautiful. By the way. She's in Mad Max. She was one of the brides.
I think it's a great cast. Oh
my god, she's in X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
I did not realize that she's the little
she's the butterfly one that they kill off. Yeah,
she's wonderful.
They kill her off in part 2. She's really hot, real sexy. She's great for this role. I think she's going to bring something real good to it. I think it's a love interest of anything.
She looks great with Rob Pattinson.
I like the news we're getting from this because obviously we're getting Gus is going to be this, Jamie Foxx is going to be this, and now we found out Jonah Hill's getting out.
So can you get into that for the fans?
So Jonah Hill has been meeting for a while now, and just today we learned he turned down a role. My theory is now that they're interviewing Seth Rogen that they brought Jonah Hill for Penguin, specifically Penguin, and I think he didn't want to do it. I thought it was too stereotypical. I think he wanted to do either a Riddler or a Hush or something different. And then I think it didn't work out, and I think that's why they're talking to Seth Rogen because they're like, we need a Penguin. We need a funny but good actor that can do both, and I think that's what they're finding in those similar type of guys where you're like, oh yeah, those guys can definitely any year get nominated for an Oscar. At the same time, they're comedic geniuses.
Well, much more Jonah Hill than Seth Rogen.
I think Seth Rogen has his moments. I think, like, especially lately with his the new one he did with
Charlize Theron, yeah.
And I think what the one from last year with the Francos, where he's a director.
Okay.
The Act. No, not The Act.
The Artist.
The Artist, thank you. So I think he's been proving extreme lately, like that he can do serious roles. I like him a lot. The Apple movie.
Which one?
The one with Fassbender.
Oh, Jobs?
Yeah, come on. Like, he's proven he can do it. And again, you have Jamie Foxx, the Gustavo Freeman, as one is going to be Alfred, one's about to be Lucius Fox. I can't wait. Like, they're getting nothing but A-listers.
I think it was called The Room. The Disaster Artist.
Disaster Artist. It was based off The Room.
Yeah, that was based
That's
off
the one, yeah.
That was bugging me. It was
because he's the director in that.
Here's my big thing about Seth Rogen. He's a wonderful actor. He's grown on me. It's not the Seth Rogen from Knocked Up, and even then he was a great actor.
When he does do that, it's awesome.
My point is, I know these movies. I know these audiences. I know how box office works. We've been doing this show long enough. Seth Rogen will hurt this movie, box office, and with people bitching about it. Alex, there's no
Lion King.
There is, yeah. You don't. Okay, good. Okay, you don't see. This movie already has Rob Pattinson as his Batman, so it's already got this uphill battle having to deal with trolls that way. But at what point you're asking the movie-going audience to watch a film that's brought to you by the people who brought you Planet of the Apes, to see Rob Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz, two people are putting into Academy Award stuff as main leads, and Seth Rogen will be your main antagonist. How did that work out? How did that work out for Tommy Lee and Jim Carrey? How does that work out with Jesse Eisenberg?
Well, Jim Carrey's had a lot of success as an actor. Like, yeah, he's picked some really shitty roles, and now he went AWOL, obviously. But let's not lie. Like, Seth Rogen has proved it. Look at Adam Sandler. Look at Adam Sandler this year.
Sure.
He's about to come out in a movie and possibly get an Oscar now.
But here's the difference, though.
I'm just saying, this is one of those roles where, like, you have enough people on this side.
Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin.
That's what we think. I think you can cast a Seth Rogen, take the chance, and when one trailer comes out, I mean, Heath Ledger can't play the Joker.
No, you're talking something completely different.
I don't think so.
You're talking about a character that, since Danny DeVito, so it has the notion from cartoons and even Gotham of being a caricature character. Has had caricature characters. So now in 2020, you're taking the quote-unquote realistic Batman tone that they've been going for since 2008, that everybody's talking Matt Reeves is going to, and you're now telling the audience that we're going to take this serious character, this serious movie, and really stretch it thin as it is by putting the Penguin in there, unless he's like this mogul, and we're going to make it...
Again, this would be the movie to do it. You argued that earlier, so you're like, well, I think they might make the Penguin a mogul and kind of just a rich boy. I was like, yeah, that's a great idea, and both these actors can do it.
And then Seth Rogen's that guy to play the counterpart to Rob Pattinson.
One of the many counterparts? Yes, one.
He's the main bad guy in this movie.
No, we don't know that.
That's the rumor. Right now, the rumor is...
he's a bad guy in it. We also think that there might be two more bad guys in this movie.
No, there's always been this idea of like the Riddler and Penguin. That's the only consistent.
So you wait for an A-lister in Riddler, and you make this Seth Rogen Penguin, I completely think it's golden. And again, this is Matt Reeves we're talking about. If he has the role, there's a reason he got the role. He could have played a safe flip, even a Jamie Foxx or a Kravitz. So obviously there's a reason he looked at these two actors for this role, because there's something specific for them. I think, again, yes, had this been a different movie from a different director, from a different Batman, I completely agree with you. The fact that it's this specific crew, I have nothing but faith that you pick a Seth Rogen, it's going to be golden. Golden.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't see it. I mean, let's be honest, it's going to happen. You're gonna gladly be proven wrong when you see it. You're going to be like, damn, that was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm always down to being gladly
and I think that's what, if I had to guess, that's just going to happen.
In a movie with, like we just said, Rob Pattinson and...
I get it. He's
and
a big
Jeffrey
enough
Wright
name and a good, and like, we're smart, Mike. We watch movies. He's a good actor. He is a very good actor. Yes, is his character huge as a person? Of course it is. But I think that's good enough right now where it's like, he's got a big name. He's a great actor. This could be his launch. Maybe he thinks this could be my launch into something a little more serious.
Seth Rogen is a good actor in his lane.
No, I think his serious roles are actually really good.
A great actor.
Yes.
Jonah Hill's a great actor.
Yeah, Jonah Hill's a better actor than him. I think he's still great. I think Jonah Hill's a really good actor. I think Seth Rogen's still great. I think for a role like the Penguin in a Matt Reeves thing, yes, I think this is going to be gold for him. I think it's going to boost both of their careers. It's going to make the movie better, and Seth Rogen's going to come out looking like, damn, Seth Rogen, all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we stay in the superhero realm as Martin Scorsese doubles down on his comments about Marvel. Again, this is a story that we really don't have to get too much deep into.
I mean, guys, Scorsese says what he wants, and two, he's not wrong.
He's not right either.
But he's not wrong.
But he's not right. So that's
it's not like a Todd Phillips saying there's no funny movies lately when he made one of them. I think he's right. We're like,
that's not what Todd Phillips said.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. We're like, yeah, dude, I don't want to go to the movie sometime for just a 2.5 hour great movie like Dr. No Sleep. We will because it's our job, but sometimes it is a lot. Sometimes it does take a blockbuster to get me out of my seat, like an It, like an Avengers. Do I appreciate an El Camino being on Netflix? Yeah. So I kind of don't think they're wrong when they say, hey, this is a theme park. That's what it has to be. That's how you get everyone out of the theater. You're not getting people to come see the Peanut Butter Falcon. I'm sorry. But they're going to go see the latest big blockbuster with T-Rexes in it.
Nobody was going to see Peanut Butter Falcon without them. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to have Fast and the Furious or the Avengers or any of these big Lion King or Aladdin movies. Nobody was watching any of these movies to begin with.
No, not in the last 20 years. That's what I'm saying.
So
I agree with his comments. No, that's cinema now.
My point was, before the superhero genre, since there's only like 4 superhero movies that come out of the year anyway, so that's only 4 weekends that it's mainly taking all its money, these movies weren't making money anyway. These movies don't make money. The real problem...
20 years ago they did.
The real problem is 20 years it wasn't fighting against superhero movies, because it still was fighting against Godzilla's and Jurassic Parks and all these other movies. The reason why these movies aren't making money is because it costs so much money to make a fucking movie. That's why. So when a movie company has to spend minimum $40 million, The Irishman costs almost $100-something million. It will never make that money in theaters. Never.
No.
So yeah, that's a reason why the movie company won't take it. But Ant-Man, waking up, makes $400 million.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why a company would do it. But here's the thing. Nothing's keeping The Irishman from being in theaters. But the theater company was not going to give Scorsese $150 to make his movie.
Yeah, and his comments are talking about the state of where it is now. And I agree. When it comes to movie theaters, people aren't going to movies that aren't huge conglomerates anymore. Like, you're right. No matter how much hype The Irishman got, it's a 3-hour mobster movie. It's not going to make it what Goodfellas was in the theater back then, where people went to the movies a little differently. Plus the movie prices. Plus you have to sit there for that long. Plus you have to go out and get a sitter sometimes, or the ridiculous movie prices. I don't think his comments are wrong at all. I think that is the state of films we are nowadays.
I disagree.
I think it is.
I think it's events. I think there are tentpole event movies.
And I think it's kind of hard with his comments when a Joker comes out. We're like, well, Joker, but you're like, technically it's a DC property. Throw that away even.
It's a high.
This is a once in a 20-year movie. So
sure.
This is one of those movies, like I said, we discussed it. We called it. We're going to be talking about this movie in class. We're going to be talking about this movie in 20 years like we talk about a Wizard of Oz, like we talk about a Citizen Kane. In the future, Joker will be on that list of movies. We will talk about it like a Star Wars New Hope.
And he's the one that brought it to the company. So I don't know where he's speaking out of both sides of my, or maybe
he's just an old grumpy man that didn't get his movie in the theater.
And he could just not even realize that he's talking that hype of storm, or he's doing this all because his movie's coming out in less than a month.
I think when we find out that he's not connected to a lot of media, as much as we think he is, like he's an old man, guys. Like he's still 70, and just because he makes like what's that quote? He's a 70-year-old still making punk. Like he still got it, but I don't think he pays attention. So maybe he did say this thing, and it's us as media that's outblowing it. And maybe he was just like, no, I like those movies, but yeah, it's like a theme park, guys. It's not. I mean, it is what it is. A lot of explosions and CGI. I'm not saying that's bad, but that's just different than when I was here. Sure. And we, as media, turned it into like, oh, Scorsese hates everyone. Martin does this, Martin does this. And at the end of the day, it's like, well, he's Martin Scorsese. He can say whatever he wants, technically.
Yeah, I mean.
And I don't have to agree with him. No. I don't agree with him 100%, but I think there's definitely a point to his case of like, yeah, it's very different cinema than than 10 years ago even.
Yeah, but and then I just go back to cinema wasn't making the money it is now.
No, it's only gone down.
It's only made more money now.
Well, no,
cinema makes more money now.
Well, because we have to pay more is what I'm saying. Like, that's why it's more expensive to go to a movie.
Yeah, but the inflation doesn't change the fact that it's making more money now than it ever has before.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the
some
fact,
movies,
though.
Some. Like, the blockbusters are making more money.
The movie industry in its own is making more money now than it ever has before.
I'd like to break that down further in a new episode.
Well, sure, but like it's as simple as this.
I think it's not that simple.
The end game making $2.7 billion is the reason why Disney gets to make X amount of movies with its TriStar and all its different things. The reason why Universal gets to make X amount of movies because Fast and the Furious makes so much money.
Yeah.
So, ex facto, you don't get Joker without having Aquaman make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like, that's where that goes. So you need the blockbuster.
We don't see a lot of Jokers, though.
Hell, it's as simple as this. Steven Spielberg and Christopher Nolan live by the mantra, I'll make a huge studio film, make you $1 billion, then you give me financing for the film I want to make. Martin Scorsese is arguably the greatest filmmaker ever. Since ever. There's Blockbuster, because Spielberg created it in the 70s with Jaws.
Not forever. It was the 90s.
Spielberg created Blockbuster with Jaws in the 70s.
Okay, he created it. Again, we'll talk about it. I think there's more to this conversation. I think we're not doing it justice right now because I think there's a lot we can go into. And maybe next week for the 100th episode, we talk more in depth about film, but there's so many more points. And I know we can go another 30 minutes with this, so I think we should pause it here because there's so like, yes, he created a blockbuster at the time. That didn't mean that's all that was coming out until we got to more late 80s, 90s. Just because there was blockbusters then doesn't mean that started it then. It started the first step, but it didn't become huge till the 90s, is what I'm saying. But I think, again, we need more time to discuss that, obviously.
And we move on from one war to another one, and that is the Wednesday night wrestling war. But we really want to kind of, and you know, the shows have been good. I think AEW, NXT, they're going to find their footing, and there's going to be good shows, bad shows. What I really want to talk about is the WWE draft for just a second, because I thought it was horribly staged. I thought it was horribly produced. I think it was all about nothing. They could have done this. They could have made it this big thing. They could have really sold it.
I thought Friday night did it pretty good because you had all the Fox people, and it's fine. Like, it's hard because you're trying to still sell a sport as sports entertainment. So it's a line you got to toe.
Because it's done.
I really want to see it going now that the hype's a little ended and we don't have to put on much of a show. Let me just see it as a wrestling show now. Your rosters are set. Here's the problem now, though. It's always WWE's issue. Well, now we got Saudi Arabia, and we've already said a bunch of it. It's always an issue with them. It's like, well, when do we get the restart? You promised us a restart, and we're kind of treading water still. I'm getting bored. We're losing fans. Oh, we got to get to Saudi Arabia. We're probably going to do a big title change there. It's like, it's so annoying.
And I think they've really been trying to find their footing. They've hit a lot of home runs, and they've also struck out a lot since the main event of Hell in a Cell with Seth and Bray. And we'll I really want to just kind of slim over everything right now when it comes to WWE talk, because we're like we were just talking about. It's finding its footing,
for a pay-per-view,
and it's finding its footing. You think that WWE is about to put the Universal title on Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
On October 31st in Saudi Arabia.
Halloween,
I think,
The Fiend, a pay-per-view they want people watching because people are so against watching it. That's what I think, yes.
I think that they have a track record of the last 4 times they've been in Saudi Arabia to show you that they're not going to do anything worth anything, and they sure as hell are not going to take Fox's second or third biggest attraction and then put them on Raw to make right for a mistake that they should have never put themselves into at Hell in a Cell.
I don't think he needs to be on SmackDown. I think there's enough star power there already without him. I think he's better off on Raw, and that's an excuse to put him on Raw.
Well, I think with Raw you already have Becky and Seth.
Because obviously Lesnar and Cain Velasquez is going to be a thing for a little bit.
Cain Velasquez I don't think is going to be a main guy.
No, not a main guy, but it's big enough. You still have Daniel. You still have Kofi. You have enough there, I think, where you're going to be okay. Not without Bray Wyatt.
They're not the hottest thing
and
in
Roman Reigns. Obviously, Roman Reigns has to come back to the title eventually.
Which we both agree on. There's nobody hotter than The Fiend.
And I think you give him the Raw title.
And there's no bigger wrestling show in the history of wrestling than Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. So you put the biggest thing over
I agree with
on
that. But I also think it's a whole different discussion. We're talking about a very different audience and very different numbers.
I don't disagree with that.
I think they'll pull the trigger on Raw, and I think if it works on Raw, then eventually we'll see him on SmackDown.
It's still a merchandise business. This is still a guy that they believed in since 2011.
But they never really pulled the trigger on either, though.
I mean, they did put him in a main event against John Cena. They did put him in big spots. I think at the end of the day, you're looking at a guy that they messed up, and they're just trying. My biggest problem, too, is they're not getting away from it. They keep doubling down. They keep on this storyline. Move Bray on. If he's going to stay on Raw, keep him on Raw. Don't tell me he's going to SmackDown, because when you tell me a star is going to SmackDown, that means that you think that they're a face of the company besides Becky, because Becky's the biggest thing on Raw. I don't think it's even close. I think you're looking at a glorified house show. I think
this will be the one that changes.
I honestly believe this will end with Bray destroying Seth, putting him through a bunch of stuff, dragging him somewhere, and that's how the match ends, with him doing the strobe lights. And on November 1st, the next day, Bray is on SmackDown.
I don't think so, but we'll see.
But that is it, good brother. Any final thoughts on today's episode?
The final thoughts.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Make sure you follow us all over social media. He's at Mercado21Alex, and I'm at Mercado2333 on Twitter. You can follow the show as well at Good Brothers Pod, and the network at Mercado Airwaves. We're on Instagram. He's at Mercado2121. I'm at Mike Mercado2333. The Living Nicole Manchas at Type You When Tipsy. Our true crime shows at Murder Mysteries and more. You can also like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mike Mercado2333. Like, rate, review, and share us anywhere you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. Please donate money and support Alex's nasty habits at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. For the good brother himself, Alex Mercado.
Adios.
I'm Mike Mercado. We'll see you on the next episode of The Good Brothers here on Mercado
Airwaves.
Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves. Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airwaves crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado2121. Mike is at Mike Mercado2333. And our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado21Alex. And Mike is at Mercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airwaves. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcast, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/Mike Mercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airwaves by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox. Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airways crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airways. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado2121, Mike is at Mike Mercado2333, and our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado21Alex, and Mike is at MMercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airways. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airways by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airways, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airways Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
To award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.